side of the road. In 2016, his administration signed an agreement to sell beachfront land just across the street. Guess for how much, sir? $30 a square foot. $30 a square foot?
No.
Beachfront land.
No.
His administration.
No.
Less than 10 years ago.
Shame.
Where was the $700 a square?
Shame.
And that is on the beach.
No. Shame. No. Oh.
I can tell the math, sir.
Oh no.
We are giving Afrexim Bank just over 2 hectares. His administration sold to that particular person 0.6626 hectares for $2.2 million. That's what we did. They sold over 0.6 of a hectare of land, sir. We selling we giving away 2 hectares and getting a return on it. They sell 0.6 hectares for $2.2 million. $2.2 million. That is the kind of arrangement that he likes, you see. But he could come in here with this calculation that we should be selling it for $700 million. Sir. It is absurd. And he has to own it. He has to explain if it is valued so much, land that isn't even on the beach, if it is valued so much, how come his people, the people that he loves, and the people in whose bosom he now lays, can sell actual beachfront land for $30 a square foot? Explain that to us. Explain that to the people of Barbados, sir. Mr. Speaker, this is a legitimate arrangement. It is an arrangement that will bring much credit to Barbados. It is an arrangement, sir, that will clean up a site I think Polisaris last occupied that building probably over 20 years ago. Over 20 years ago. I remember when it was at Cave Hill, and it was going for my enabling grant, a little $1,000 at the end of the law school. That is the building I intended to get it. That is the building, sir. So, I would like the honourable member to reflect on a few things. One, the value that we attribute to it is not a value that we came up with. It is a value that has been determined by the Barbados Revenue Authority. It is their value. If your member could bring a valuation for $143 million, that would be such a miracle. But as usual, this is hot air. Secondly, we are getting a tremendous bang for our buck here. For $17 million, because that is what we are putting into this project. We're not claiming any part of it, but we're giving them the land. For $17 million, we are, what's the percentage return on that? Huh? We are getting $150 million in the ground. We're getting people landing at Grantley Adams. We're getting people coming here for meetings and staying in hotels and renting houses and renting cars and eating in our restaurants and hiring our people as maids and cleaners, and they're going to our dentists, our doctors, and even our lawyers. All of those things are added to it, sir. I support this. I'm not surprised that our member does not support it, because just 2 days ago when he spoke about it in this chamber, he behaved as though it was something filthy, something nasty and underhanded. But before he left the chamber that day, or as soon as he left the chamber really, because he never came back, we were able to lay this resolution. There's nothing sinister about this. There's nothing underhanded about this. There's a CARICOM agreement and there's a headquarters agreement. And the headquarters agreement says that we have to make arrangements for their accommodation in Barbados. They're also entitled to all of the immunities and privileges under the legislation. It is all transparent, Mr. Speaker. But the honourable member is steeped in folly, and at this time of the night, he chooses to visit us with it some more. And we're blessed you.
Honourable Member St. James Central.
Mr. Speaker, I am very grateful for the opportunity to share perspective on this matter. And the matter, Mr. Speaker, sir, arises in the most unfortunate of circumstances when the Honourable Member for Christchurch South, I noted how he laughed and rejoiced. He rocked back in his chair and chuckled, and to the point where he had to pull out a washcloth to wipe his brow. When the Honourable Member for St. George quite rightly pointed out that in a previous contribution in this place during this week, the Honourable Member attacked the idea of the African Exim Bank making this transaction and the government being party to this transaction. And all that the Honourable Member for St. George South said, Mr. Speaker, is true. To the point where I turned to my friend, the member for Christchurch Essential, and said, you know, I not only understand the anger on the part of the Honourable Member for St. George South, but I asked him if he remembered the movie John Wick, when the owner of the hotel, I can't remember what they call it now, asked the question, oh, John, what have you done? And tonight I say to the Honourable Member for Christchurch South, or I would say if I was not here, oh, Ralph, what have you done? Because he has opened up the ire of all right-thinking black people, Mr. Speaker, on a matter about which there can be no legal basis, no moral basis, no cultural basis for a divide. I'm going to deal with them, Mr. Speaker. First of all, the Honourable Attorney General, the learned Attorney General of Barbados is absolutely right. As of December 2024, the Afro-Exim Bank had 53 participating African member states and 12 CARICOM member states, among which Barbados is numbered. So to his first question, and I note that, you know, there's this constant facade or veneer of using the word law. Well, as a lawyer, I would ask the question. Well, I am not going to get into quality, experience, none of that. I'm just going to say that's what I hear. And the question is asked, but it is never, Mr. Speaker, sir, supported by the rigor that the profession of which I too am a part requires. The profession requires rigor in the use of language. You don't come to the People's Parliament, Mr. Speaker, or to the court, magistrate court, high court, or court of appeal. You don't come to these formal institutions and use language the same way you would use it in a market. So if the Honourable Member asks who are the members of the African Exim Bank, the Foreign Affairs Minister of Barbados tells you there are 53 African member states and 12 CARICOM members as of December 2024, pursuant, Mr. Speaker, sir, to the partnership agreement with the CARICOM community that was ratified, Mr. Speaker, sir. Now, if you want to hear about prospective members, because there are more than 12 in CARICOM, and I'm going to come to the significance of that too, then there will be the government of Jamaica and the government of Trinidad and Tobago, who are at a prospective member point, but they are not members. No, Mr. Speaker, sir. The absence of rigor. The Honourable Member comes here in a speech, give me a chance, Pedro, in a speech, and without any evidence whatsoever, and I'm going to pause, Mr. Speaker, to make the point because I know why it was done. This was done, and you know what gives it away? Again, the veneer, the facade which says, oh, well, you know, I really come here to educate. I'm in an educative mood, an educative tone. Educate my eye. The Honourable Member is seeking to perpetrate a political mischief. He is seeking to perpetrate a political mischief. And the political mischief is to put it out there in the public domain without a shred of evidence that the land in question that has been lying idle since I was a little boy, and I'm over 50 now. I ain't never seen nothing upon it, except for some old buildings, sir, and one or two old vehicles that I remember in the last administration when they brought out the three-wheel ambulances, that I had to excoriate them all about in the floor of this house, that the clerks at the table never let me forget how I lambasted them because they came out here with three-wheel ambulances. And two or three of those three-wheel ambulances, they were used to use in Ramadan in Pakistan, sir, to put the lamp on and run it down the road. I gave it to us as an ambulance. And if you go in there in that long grass and thing in the back of the same thing, you will see on the same compound, you will see, Mr. Speaker, sir, a few of those abandoned vehicles. A three-wheel hearse. No, Mr. Speaker, sir, no, I didn't come, no, I'm very serious about this now. That was to digress. But the absence of rigor, the honourable member, without a shred of evidence, introduces into the debate for the purposes of the press, for the purpose of political mischief, for them to publish abroad, to noise the mischief in the public, that land worth $700 a square foot, which, as he said, we're alienating. In other words, we gain away something that precious to the public, the government, the people of Barbados, the heritage, all of that, as we come in with, $700 a square foot. Where is the evidence of that? On the other hand, the Attorney General of Barbados has, and the member for St. George South have together a BRA land tax valuation. What's valuations again? Yeah, $17 million. But if it was $700 a square foot, Mr. Speaker, sir, let us do the arithmetic, because the honourable member does not submit to the requirements of intellectual rigor. And I will hold his feet to the fire on it, because he's doing grave justice to Mr. Barr's party and to himself in the process. Grave injustice. Mr. Speaker, there was 700 square feet, if it was $700 a square foot, we are talking about 219,000 square feet, sir. By $700, which according to my calculation comes to $153 million. That is what, if we were to sell the land at the price the honourable member is suggesting it is worth, $153 million for that land. But, Mr. Speaker, sir, what is not in dispute in this House between any side, and what cannot be disputed because it is a matter of record, is that the Afro-Asian Bank wants to make an investment which is worth $300 million. No, Mr. Speaker, I don't come a grandstand. I may have gone to Brumley. It's quite big. Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I know that if you're going to sell something for $153 million, and then a man come and build $300 million worth on it, Mr. Speaker, sir, why still good? I got $150 million. So, however, if you do it his way, or if you do it our way, Mr. Speaker, sir, $150 million, what is it that he is quarreling about? Or is he saying to the country as a whole, no, that which he said to the people in Ostins? They are not worth $5 million, and the country is not worth $150 million. That is the absence of rigor to which I refer, Mr. Speaker. It is a shameful thing. No, I said in the House, in the budget, that financial literacy is necessary. I was speaking to a different category of Barbadian society, and perhaps it is not limited. It perhaps needs to be extended. Mr. Speaker, sir, I go further. I now start trespassing on matters of great public importance. What has not been said in this debate, sir, but what was, again, I said to the honourable member for Christchurch, sometimes it only takes one sentence for you to realize that another game is being played. Oh, well, if they could show me the benefits. Because if you looked at the posture and listened to what was said by the honorable member, you know, Mr. Speaker, so he had literally to be dragged to the point where he took a position. He was a bit of this, he was a bit of that. On the other hand, this, on the other hand, that. Perhaps this, perhaps that. The word waffle came to my mind, and here was reduced to being a pancake house. Waffle upon waffle upon waffle. Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, the absence of rigor. He asked, well, if I could hear about any benefits, perhaps. Well, let's talk for a little bit about the benefits. It is no secret to the people of the Caribbean. Professor Benedict Orama, who at the time of us entering into the partnership was the man in charge of the Afro-Exim Bank, came here and publicly proclaimed that the bank was committing itself to this region to the tune of 1.5 billion United States dollars, billion with a B, Mr. Speaker, sir, as a point of departure in terms of the economic partnership for this region. And Mr. Speaker, upon the completion of all the members of CARICOM ratifying, and you will remember I began by pointing out that 12 members ratified up to December, upon the others coming on board, sir, that which the Afro-Exim Bank commits to this region is 3 billion United States dollars. I invite the leader of the Democratic Labour Party to tell me anywhere in the world where there is an entity, howsoever described, that is prepared to place at the disposal of this region 3 billion United States dollars in development financing. And in spite of himself, instinctively just now he started to tap the table because he agreed with me too. There's nowhere in the world, Mr. Speaker. So if his argument is that if he could see the benefit, that's the first benefit. Mr. Speaker, sir, the other benefits. A serious political entity sitting in the chair of leadership of opposition in the country, which essentially is a man at first slip, would do a little homework before he come in here. It isn't hard, Mr. Speaker, sir, to discover. And if he did not know, yes, there's some political tensions around the budget, but he could have picked up the phone and said, Kerry, are there any other entities, any other benefits that could be derived from this thing? But he did not want to know. He wouldn't submit himself to ask a question of anybody. Lord know it all. Lord know it all. Going to the Democratic Labour Party, know nothing about the institution since he left it for the second time. When last he left it for the second time, and you back up everything. Lord know it all. And Mr. Speaker, sir, it then comes to pass, or it must now come to pass, that I have to let the House know that in addition to this, the Afro-Exim Bank brings to the Caribbean and brings to Barbados in particular a number of subsidiaries. There is a group called, there's an entity called Afrex Insure, which is a pan-African insurance entity working as a subsidiary to the Afro-Exim Bank. And what is it doing, Mr. Speaker, sir? Cargo insurance, construction insurance, energy sector insurance, commercial insurance, Mr. Speaker. So that which we are trying to build out, that network between CARICOM and Africa for the business development of this region, Mr. Speaker, can be done in the very real setting of financial insurance. Now, Mr. Speaker, sir, the honourable member asked about benefits. You know, sir, that the African Union has identified CARICOM and the diaspora down here as the sixth dimension of the African continent. It is no longer, the African Union is no longer defined as West Africa, East Africa, South Africa, North Africa, and Central Africa. There is also CARICOM. We are the sixth dimension. And it was in that capacity that the Prime Minister and I would have gone to Ethiopia for the African Union heads meeting, because she is chair of CARICOM. So that for the first time a few weeks ago rather, CARICOM was part of the African Union meeting. You all remember now he can't deal with the thing, so he gone along home yet again. Does not want to be educated, does not want to understand, commit his political mischief, and go along home. And don't have the courage or capacity to sit down and take a few lashes, but can give enough. Anyhow, the point is, Mr. Speaker, sir. So the other subsidiary, the other benefit, Mr. Speaker, is the Pan-African payment system. I made the point about the sixth dimension because of the fact that the bank is now a partner with us in trying to pull this region together. When I say the region, sir, CARICOM and Africa together as one region. That's why you first begin by saying it is the sixth dimension. But you can't just pull it together. There are some fundamentals that we know exist. First of all, the people must be able to do business. And if it is that you're doing business, then you have to be able to have a payment settlement system that allows for, at this point, e-commerce to take place. Part of that which is we are benefiting from as a subsidiary of the Africa Exim Bank, sir, is the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. The Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, which is about ensuring that there's no intermediary that we got to go through, but that the African purchaser can say that by way of e-commerce transaction, he or she wants to get the clothing that is being made by my constituents in Fitz Village that want to be able to sell not only in the Caribbean, but across into Africa as well. And I ain't got to worry about whether the US or anybody else is going to facilitate the transaction. Mr. Speaker, sir, and they have put $10 billion towards the support of the participation in that Pan-African settlement system. No, sir, in the end of the day, the last benefit really is this country, and if the honourable member could take off his blinkers for a little while and just think of Barbados' well-being. This country is now poised to be able to set itself up as the financial capital of the Caribbean. We have here the Inter-American Development Bank. We have here the Caribbean Development Bank. We host here the Caribbean Development Fund. There are discussions ongoing with my friend, the Finance Minister, and the Prime Minister also for a World Bank office to be here, Mr. Speaker, sir. We have the headquarters. CAF is here, the Latin American Bank. And then, Mr. Speaker, sir, Africa Exim Bank has its headquarters for this region here. And they are only seeking now to flesh it out further by building out around it the trade center, the hotel, and whatever else it is that is supposed, and the Africa Exim Bank offices that will service this country and the rest of the region. Mr. Speaker, sir, these are good things. And if you are going to say that by way of alienation of the land, that these are the benefits that come to us, sir, I think that the benefits far outweigh any burden. And Mr. Speaker, if it is that the honourable member was to, or anybody else was to insist on sale, we would be holding feet to fire in order to get $150 million. But I don't know how you look a gift horse in the mouth. I was not trained that way, because when we were on bended knee in COVID, the same African platform came to our assistance, Mr. Speaker, sir, when others were saying that we could wait, that our children could wait, and if they died from COVID, then let them die. The African procurement platform was made available to us for equipment, medical supplies, Mr. Speaker, sir, and most of all, vaccines. At the same price. You're talking a continent of 2 billion people. A continent of 2 billion people. And because we small, sir, we can't put in a big order, but so therefore it will cost more for us to get it. We got it at the same price that they pay for it with 2 billion people. And are you saying then, sir, that as black people from the South now, man, this is the second chapter now, tonight. I get the first one when it was in the budget. And this country has to start getting real about this. I defy anybody in Barbados to tell me that there's a shred of decency in the thought that when the African continent came to our assistance, when others that did not look like us told us that you could stop one side and dead. The African continent comes to your assistance, ensures that you live, Mr. Speaker, sir. This is an existential matter, that you continue to exist on God's green earth. And you're going to insist, sir, you're going to insist that you must get the pound of flesh. He likes Shakespeare. I must get my pound of flesh. Huh? No, there's something vulgar about it. There's something vulgar about it. That the African continent says, as they say in the book of Matthew, even and they do unto the least of these, they looked at us in the Caribbean. We were naked, they clothed us. We were sick, they sought to visit upon us, Mr. Speaker, sir. And we must now look to extract everything we can out of them. When nobody was looking for us, and I'm going to hear it here in the Parliament of Barbados, what are the benefits? But there's no ordinary transaction with the commercial banks like Royal and Scotia and them there. There's a bank that has come here, sir, to offer that which nobody else has offered to the Caribbean in the context of 1.5 billion United States dollars. And another 1.5 billion when the rest of the region is fully finished ratifying this here. The only thing that stands between us and that is bureaucracy and political will. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, we got to get real now. And if this has to be the line in the sand drawn between those who will hold back Barbados from getting the benefits that we could get, and I don't only mean the other hotel, I don't only mean, and the hotel is vital because employing people to build is Bajans who can build it. Employing people, Mr. Speaker, after it is open to keep Barbadians in a form of business. A trade center, Mr. Speaker, sir, that will bring people here to do business. And when they come here, Mr. Speaker, sir, are they not going to eat? So therefore, Barbadian people in the food and beverage sector get money. When they come here, Mr. Speaker, sir, are they not going to sleep somewhere? And therefore, Barbadian people in the accommodation sector get money. When they come here, Mr. Speaker, sir, are they not going to recreate themselves in places, sir, around the coastline of this country, preferably on the west coast of St. James, but some will go up on Oysters in Christchurch too? No, Mr. Speaker, sir, this is a very serious matter. Because what we are seeing unfold here is a developmental vision. I want you, Mr. Speaker, sir, to recognize that. We are seeing here an opportunistic politics of the Democratic Labour Party, that you whip up false frenzy in the hope of getting a vote. And what does it profit a man to win a vote if in the process he loses his soul and destroys a country, Mr. Speaker? Because what we are seeing on the other side of the argument is a political party in government which is saying to this country, let us get real. We can no longer continue with this nonsense of believing that the sun sets and rises for us by gazing to the north of the world, because a Napoleonic figure has arisen in the north. And the north itself can't even agree on what they used to agree on. All the alliances that they thought they had since World War II have now been dismantled or strained. 200% this morning's news. If you're going to sell liquor from Europe into the United States, 200% tariff, Mr. Speaker. Canada and the United States that were one can't even agree if electricity is to be sold to New York City. Do you understand, Mr. Speaker, that New York itself was told they can't get electricity without a tariff? That's the world we now live in. And while those great powers fight with one another and can afford to do so, when elephants fight in the jungle, a wise ant hides in the grass and looks for other ants to partner with, which is what we do. So the people of the South are speaking with one voice. And when for years, Michael Manley, Trinidad, Eric Williams, all of those illustrious predecessors were talking about South-South cooperation. I heard the mealy-mouthed waffling in here, trying to put together two words in response to the very excellent piloting of this bill by the Honourable Member for St. George South, sir. There's no philosophical anchor over there. Mr. Speaker, sir, I know it is late in the night and I perhaps should not go on, but let me say this. This is fundamental, and this is about a divide. I've seen it clearly about where one party wants to go and how they want to mamagai and use people in Barbados for their own narrow ends, and how there's a development agenda for this country that can employ people, that can keep the Barbados economy growing and buoyant and give us opportunities in this is the largest market anywhere in the world that we talk about when we talk about Africa, and growing at a rapid rate. And all of them young. The greatest cadre of young people to be found anywhere. Black people in Africa. Natural fit for us. And we have this antediluvian nonsense taking place. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wholeheartedly support this. And if it is that this now got to become a national noise, I stand on the side of the government and I am ready to bear them in Denmark or anywhere else.
Yeah.
Honourable for grace.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to join this debate on a most fundamental matter. Because you will recall, sir, I made a point in the budget presentation that we presented the Covenant of Hope to Barbados, sir, on the 5th of May of 2016. And the first principle that we established, sir, was that we want to create a new national consciousness, sir, for how Bajans saw themselves in a world that is increasingly becoming more turbulent, and that we must make sure that we proceed with confidence, sir. Fast forward, sir, to 2018, we won the election, sir, and as a cabinet and as a government, we agreed that we will engage aggressively, sir, with the African continent. Fast forward to 2019, sir, the Prime Minister, I believe she would have met the President of Ghana at the UN General Assembly in 2018, as well as the President of Kenya. And both of those gentlemen, sir, visited Barbados in 2019. Receptions were held right here in this Parliament, sir, for the Prime Minister, the President of Ghana, sorry, and the President of Kenya, sir, at this parliamentary location. I do not remember, sir, the Honourable Member for Christchurch South, at any of those two receptions. I am prepared to be wrong, but if any member in here could recall seeing him at any of those two receptions for any of the presidents of those countries, let me know, sir. I will come back here and I will humbly apologize, sir. I will humbly apologize. No, sir. We also opened the mission in Ghana, sir, and the mission in Kenya. Further evidence, sir, of our commitment of creating a new national consciousness so that Bajans don't feel as if, sir, that you only got to look north to exist in this world. And as the Honourable member for St. James Central just indicated, sir, when we were on our knees, sir, during COVID, who came to our assistance, sir? It's the same thing with the Cubans, you know, sir? He asked a question about the Cubans, and he got the answer. He just got the answer in terms of who helped Barbados and the region, sir. We, the 6th region of the African Union, sir, has adopted. And so this is extremely fundamental, sir, to how this government versus the Democratic Labour Party, sir. This is fundamental. This is a fissure, sir, in this relationship. But I go further, sir. The Honourable member spoke to, the professor came here. We had the first Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum, sir, in 2022, I believe it was, sir, right here at LESC. We just come out of COVID, sir. Right here, Professor Benedict Orama, I remember, sir, the Prime Minister said the President is coming, and I am to go to the airport to meet him, sir. And when I met the President, sir, I thought it was Marcus Garvey, sir, alive in the flesh, sir. And the President of the African Exim Bank, if anybody go on Google now, sir, Benedict Orama. Google search Benedict Orama. Google search Marcus Garvey, sir. And when you look at the two, sir, you would swear that Benedict Orama has to be some grandson, grandchild, something of Marcus Garvey, sir. And therefore, when we determine, sir, that this is how we are going to chart our future, sir, that we will do so. I met the President, sir. I welcomed him to Barbados. And we set, and to be honest, sir, today, as the Honourable member for St. James Central indicated, we met with the Finance Minister from Nigeria in this Parliament today, sir, as well as the President of Sierra Leone in this Parliament today, sir. But you know, the Honourable member was nowhere to be found on the premises of Parliament, sir. There's a history, sir, of the absence of the Honourable Leader of the Opposition from the premises of Parliament whenever anybody from Africa, sir, visits this place, sir. A King's Council does not want to associate with anybody, sir, from Africa. But this Barbados Labour Party, sir, we follow on, because this is how we're going to change the future, sir. He spoke about Holtown, and I swear to God, sir, I swear to God, I am sorry that it is the resolution here for Gemma's Lane. It should be the resolution that we're taking for Holtown, sir, to give to the African Exim Bank, because the Honourable member needs to understand, sir, he needs to understand that investment in Barbados, sir, is not only for white foreigners, sir. It's not only for white foreigners. He's ashamed, sir, of himself. Of himself. No, sir, I feel really strongly about this here, because every time, sir, he gets up in here, utters nonsense, sir. We as a party, sir, we agreed that we are going to chart a new future for our country and to show our young people, sir, that we must disavow ourselves of this idea of the colonial master and this superior race and all this type of thing, sir, and that you must cut out the disinformation, sir, about Africa. And that is why we set about making sure that we talk with one another directly, sir. And we will continue as a government, sir, to do that. But I go further, sir. I go further. I can be brief, sir. Last year, no. Last year, sir. Last year, sir. Notice was given in this Parliament of the African Export-Export Bank Bill 2024, sir. Notice was given on the 23rd of January 2024. I want the public to understand this here. The 23rd of January 2004, sir. 2024, sir. The bill will provide for the implementation of the agreement of the establishment of a partnership between member states of the community and the African Export-Import Bank, sir. And B, agreement between the government of Barbados and the African Export-Import Bank concerning the location, sir, of the Caribbean Community Office of the African Export-Import Bank. That was led in this Parliament, sir. Notice was given on the 23rd. A week later, sir, I stood down there and led a debate in this Parliament, sir. Members contributed. When I checked the minutes, sir, if you check the minutes of the 30th of January 2024, sir, and you see who was present, and you see when it was absent, sir, lo and behold, sir, as I said, he wasn't here when the president of Kenya was here, sir. He wasn't here when the president of Ghana was here, sir. He wasn't here today when the finance minister from Nigeria was here. No, he wasn't here today, sir, when the president of Sierra Leone was here. We debated a bill in here as part of the government's commitment as to how we will change the national consciousness, sir, and he wasn't here. He was not here. The minutes of the House said so. Not me. It's the minutes of the House, sir. But here are the things, sir. It went to the Senate. It passed the Senate, sir, the 7th of February, 2024. Now, all of us trying to figure out, well, what happened? What happened? You know, 5 days later, sir, you know what happened? The honourable member crossed the floor and decided that he can become the leader of the opposition. I submit to this Parliament, sir, that the honourable leader of the opposition, he cares nothing about Africans, black people, or anything. Because I swear to God, sir, I swear to God, he has a fundamental problem, sir. A fundamental problem with the government seeking to restore a relationship, sir, that was severed right out there, so, sir, by the careenage. When we took down Nelson and replaced it with that monument out there, sir, to represent the fact that the separated families right out there, sir. And this Parliament, as the Prime Minister would tell us all the time, in 1661 passed the slave code that became the template for how slaves were treated right across the Americas, sir. I know that he would have supported that as a King's Counsel, sir. Because today, he does not want us to associate with that which we came from, sir. And I'm ashamed that he would come in this chamber and question the government for wanting to work closer with people that we have partnered with, sir. And we want Bajans, sir, young boys and girls to grow up in this country knowing, sir, that people of African descent must be respected globally, sir. And this government will not stop until that happens, sir. Now, Mr. Speaker, I said it was going to be short, and I promised not to think. But this, I swear to the people of Barbados, this is not a debate just about land and investment, because when the geriatric hospital is finished in Waterford, sir, the same African Export Bank is going to build a conference center at the existing site of the geriatric hospital, sir. Nobody else, sir, the African Export Bank is going to do that. You understand? And therefore, I am saying to Barbadians, when this Barbados, they've already sets the tone, let us appreciate it. We can talk, sir. We can talk. The same thing is going to happen with St. Anne's and these other sites, sir. We're going to have a conversation. By the end of the day, sir, we have to move forward with confidence as black people, sir, quite frankly, to ensure, sir, that our young people understand that they're not worth any less than anybody else in the world, sir, and that any Bajan, sir, boy or girl could go any part of the world and make things happen and change for the better, sir. And that is what this Barbados Labour Party is talking about a new national consciousness, sir. So I don't mind the leader of the opposition. I don't mind the leader of the opposition. we are going to do the work, sir, in the trenches to make sure that we serve good examples for what is possible for the future of this country. I'm obliged to you, sir.
Mr. Speaker, let me be
Honourable
brief
Member for St. George South.
because the hour is late.
Very late.
And I want to
Very
thank my colleagues, member for St. Joseph, St. James, Central, and member for Christ Church, East Central, who supported, on behalf of the entire team, this very important resolution. Mr. Speaker, I will end by saying, historically, Barbados has been separated from our African nations only by colonialism. And Mr. Speaker, investment and trade is a way, or one of the ways to rebuild economic unity. I will end with a quote with the first president of Ghana, Kwame Nkrumah, and he said, "We face neither east nor west, we face forward." Barbados continues to go forward with its future growth with Africa, rather than relying solely on past relationships with Western nations. While we will never ever say to the world that we will not recognize the importance of the Western nations to our growth, the road to our Atlantic destiny and regaining our Atlantic destiny was demonstrated tonight by our members and with this resolution. Mr. Speaker, this is the way forward. We face neither west nor east. We face forward. And with those words, Mr. Speaker, I beg that this resolution now pass.
The question is that this resolution do now pass. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. This resolution stands passed. Honourable member for St. Joseph.
Mr. Speaker, speaking on the adjournment, we've had, I think, probably 4 weeks, 4 solid weeks of parliamentary exercise. All of the nights have not been long, but certainly this has been a challenge, I think, for all of us. We have been away from our ministries for the most part, our families, our constituencies as well. But I think that the public of Barbados has seen what governance is firsthand and has seen the administration of the Barbados Labour Party operating at its finest. We have to thank, Mr. Speaker, all of the individuals who have serviced these sittings, including these more recent marathon sittings. We often do not reflect, other than at Christmas, about the many individuals and their contributions to keeping the machinery of Parliament flowing. That includes an entire raft of people, some clerical, some administrative, some are not, our caterers, the very thoughtful ladies and gentlemen who serve us our meals and take care of us on a daily basis, all of the staff of Parliament, and of equal importance, Mr. Speaker, are those individuals who stand vigilant on these premises. And I'm referring specifically to the members of the Barbados Police Service. Just thinking about the opposition when I said royal. The members of the Barbados Police Service, all of them have allowed us the opportunity to be here and to serve our country at this level. So let me, on behalf of yourself, Mr. Speaker, on behalf of all of us, even on behalf of the opposition, let me thank them all for their hard work, their support, and their dedication and commitment to duty. I beg to move, Mr. Speaker, that we adjourn Parliament until Monday, 31st of March at 10 in the morning.
The question is that this honourable chairman be adjourned until Monday, the 31st of March, 2025 at 10 a.m. in the forenoon. All those honourable members in favor, please say aye. Those against, please say no. Me think the ayes have it. This honourable chamber stands adjourned until Monday, the 31st of March, 2025 at 10 a.m. in the forenoon.